Hello my friends, I'm here with another video for 10th grade students, and as you know we use Think B1 Cambridge Think B1 book for our 10th grade students. And today, if you have the book, first I want to say the students who have the book, please open page 115. We are going to talk about third conditional grammar, but if you don't have the book, there is no matter. We can do it here together. All of them I can explain for you, you will understand, no matter. But if you have book, it's better to open page 115, unit 12, and start practicing what is third conditional grammar. In the past, if you remember, we talked about first and second conditionals, yes? What is the first conditional? When our sentences, if clauses start with if plus present simple, and the result clause is the future, yes? For example, if I work hard, I will pass the exam. And this is the real situation. In second, it means that second conditional sentences, in if clause we use past simple. If I worked hard, I would pass the exam. Yes, it's a little not that much a real situation like the first conditional, and the result is maybe imaginary or not that much real. But in third conditional, we talked about something that is completely uncertain event, but in the past, not in the future, or in the means the result is imaginary, it's not certain things. Look at here, look at the rule part. We use third conditional to talk about unreal situations. Look at here, not real situations, unreal situations in the past and their imagined result, because when the situation is unreal in the past, of course the result is going to be imaginary, it's not going to be normal or certain. We use the third conditional. How is the construction? How we can make third conditional sentences? In the if clause we use condition clause, if plus past perfect simple. If I had $1 million, I would have bought an airplane. So everybody knows that in the past I didn't have $1 million. So I'm talking about unreal situation in the past. So the result also is going to be imaginary. Yes, if I had $1 million, I would have bought something. I didn't have $1 million, so I wouldn't have bought that airplane, or I couldn't do it. And in the result clause, we use would or would not have. Please be careful. Would plus or would not plus have plus past participle. Past participle form of the verb means third form of the verb. Be careful of this thing. Look at here, this part. If we had run, we wouldn't have missed the train. Did they run? Did they miss the train? No, they didn't. Why? Because it's something imaginary, uncertain thing about the past time. If we had run, but we didn't run, yes, we didn't run, we wouldn't have missed the train. So we missed the train. Why? Because in the past it's something unreal situation, so the result is something unreal, it's imaginary. When something in the past, when something in the present, it's not true, it's not a real situation, of course it's obvious that the result also is going to be uncertain or imaginary. If I hadn't listened to my mother, I wouldn't have got into trouble. Look at here, if I hadn't listened, past perfect, yes, past perfect. If I hadn't listened, past perfect, you know that the structure is had plus past participle form of the verb. Or for negative sentences, hadn't plus past participle form of the verb. I wouldn't have, would plus not plus have for negative, and got here. Again, past participle form of the verb. You know that got and gotten we can use. Did he listen to his mother? No, because it said that if I hadn't listened to my mother, I wouldn't have got into the trouble. So he didn't listen. Did he got into the trouble? Of course, he got into the trouble. So come here, we want to do some exercises about it. Match the part of the sentences. Here, what are we going to do? We have questions or sentences here 1 to 6, and here also we have other phrases, other sentences, and maybe some questions A to F. We are going to match them together. I'm going to make it a little bigger for you to see it better. If I had studied hard, look at here again, had studied, past perfect tense, yes? If I had studied hard, which one is going to be matched with this? Let's check the answer D. The test would have been a lot easier for me. So, in the past, I didn't study hard. Yes, I didn't study. So, it's unreal situation. I know that I didn't study. So, I said, if I had studied hard, but I didn't do it. The test would have been a lot easier for me. Would have plus past participle would have been a lot easier for me. But because in the past, that's the unreal situation. I didn't do it, so the result is going to be imaginary for me. Because I didn't had studied hard, so the test wouldn't have been easier for me. Yes, this is the imaginary thing. If I hadn't studied so much, so please pay attention that this situation is something for something in the past and unreal situation. It's not about the present time. It's not about the future time. It's just about the past time and unreal situation. Because in the past I didn't do it. She, he, we, you didn't do it. So the result is going to be imaginary. Please don't forget this. If I hadn't studied so much, I wouldn't have passed the test. If I hadn't studied so much, I wouldn't have. So, what does it mean? What these sentences, what do you understand from these sentences? It means that in the past, he or she or I studied so much, but if I hadn't studied so much, if I hadn't, something that I didn't do it, if I hadn't studied so much, so I wouldn't have passed the test. So it means that in the past I studied so much and I passed the test. But it's an unreal situation about the past. If I hadn't studied, so what's going to be the result imaginary? I wouldn't have passed the test. Would she have been late for school if she had got up with her when her alarm rang? Look at here. I told you that we can change the sentences. Yes, for example, write the if clause in the beginning or the result clause the beginning or vice versa. Yes, it's up to us. Would she have been, so our sentence starts with result clause. Would she have been late for school if she had got up when her alarm rang? So look at here, had past perfect. If she had got up when her alarm rang, would she have been late for school? No. But because she didn't wake up when the alarm rang, so she would have been late for school. But this is in the question form. You see, the sentence is in different way. If she hadn't got up, if she hadn't got up when her alarm rang, then what's going to be happen? She wouldn't have had time for breakfast. Again, we are talking about the unreal situation in the past. So she said that if she hadn't got up when her alarm rang, she wouldn't have had that time for breakfast. But when we want to think, it's something that happened. But we make it to the unreal situation in the past. If she hadn't got up, so she wouldn't have had time for breakfast. So we understand that she had got up and she would have time for the breakfast. If we hadn't spent all our money, we would have bought him a present. If we hadn't spent, look at here again, if clause with past perfect. If we hadn't spent all our money, we would have bought him a present. Would have plus past participle form of it. And we wouldn't have had enough money to go to the cinema. We wouldn't have had enough money. So here again we change the if clause and result clause. First, write the result clause. We wouldn't have had enough money to go to the cinema if we had spent it all on food. So it's again about something in the past. Yes, if we had spent all the money on food, we wouldn't have enough money to go to the cinema. So it's something about, we talked about something unreal situation because something like this didn't happen in the past. Because of that, we said that this is the unreal and imaginary situation. So come here, number 3. Put the verbs into the correct form to make third conditional sentences. It's important to use the verbs in the correct form for making first, second, and third conditional sentences. Like the first one. If she hadn't been so rude, I would have helped her. Look at here, because our sentences started with if clause, so we know that after that we used to write past perfect sentences. If she hadn't, and because here we have negative form, we said if she hadn't been, be is the past participle form of the be. Yes, I would have helped her. Would plus have plus past participle form of it. Look at here, again our sentence here started with if. So after if, we need to write past perfect, yes? Past perfect tense of the verb. If Paul hadn't invited, yes? Hadn't invited me to his party, I would have been really upset. Yes, I would have. So here, hadn't invited, past perfect, had, because negative form not, and invited, the past participle form of invited is invited, yes? And here, would have, past participle form of our verb, that is verb is be, so it's be. Again, if she, what we are going to write, had plus past participle form of it, yes, because it's past perfect. If she had entered the competition, I am sure she would have won it. So, we won. Yes, because of that we use would have won it. And number 3. They in the sea. Look at here, if clause here comes in the second part. So, here we need to write would plus past participle, and the second part if clause. Yes, they would have gone in the sea if they hadn't forgotten. Yes, if they hadn't forgotten. Please pay attention. The past participle form of forget is forget. Second past simple, forgot, forgotten. So, they would have gone in the sea if they hadn't forgotten their swimsuits. We again here, if is here in the second part. So, our sentences start with result clause, then if clause came. So, we wouldn't have won the game because our sentence is negative. We wouldn't have won the game if he hadn't scored the goal. And the past participle form of score is scored. So, we wouldn't have won the game if we hadn't scored that goal. Look, come here. Read this statement, imagine a different past and write as many third conditional sentences as you can and compare your ideas. So, this is the one of the best ways to practice it. Yes, you can imagine something in the past, the situation that is unreal, they are not real, and you can make sentences like this. For example, if Paul, instead of Paul, you can write your brother's name, your sister's name, your friend's name. You can make sentences like this about unreal situation in the past to make practice the third conditional sentences. You know that not just for third conditional, for all parts of the grammar, all types of the grammar, you need to practice all the time. Yes, you need to make sentences, you need to talk with your friends, to compare your ideas, to share your ideas, to understand it better. So this is one of the best parts. Now come here, what we have, this is the vocabulary time. Okay, the grammar is finished. Here we have vocabulary. Talking about consequences and reason. What is consequences? Consequence is the same reason that something happened. For example, I said, if your leg is now hurting, yes, your leg has some problems. If you go and play football, you will hurt it again. What is the consequence? So, if you go there, the consequence will be hurt your leg again. So this is the reason, this is the result of doing something. So we are going to match the conversation with the picture and write numbers 1 to 4 here. What are here? First, look at here, read them, you are going to read them. Why did you stop playing? Because it started raining, Mom. Number 2, so your parents are angry with you again? Yes, it's because of my bad grades at school. I was really hungry when I got home from school. That explains why there aren't any biscuits left in the cupboard. So she or he was really hungry, and the explanation, the consequence is what? There aren't any biscuits because she or he ate all the biscuits. I forgot to invite Jim to my party. What is the consequence that I forgot it? So that's the reason he looks so upset. So in the first sentences, we say our sentences, something that happened, and in the second part, this is the consequence and result. For example, why did you stop playing? Why did you stop? Because what is the consequence of stop playing or result? Because it started raining. And now we are going to match these 4 sentences conversation with here. Look at the number 1. Number 1 is 3. Why? It said, I was really hungry when I got home from school. That explains why there aren't any biscuits left in the cupboard. Look at here. There is nothing left in the cupboard. So number A is matched with 3. B. What is the B? B is 4. What was the 4? I forgot to invite Jim to party. So what was the result that you forgot? So that's the reason he looks so upset. Look at here. He is so upset because he forgot to invite the Jim to the party. Number 3. C. So your parents are angry with you again. Why are angry? What is the consequence that they are angry? Yes, it's because of my bad grades at school. And this is also 1. Yes. Why did you stop playing? The mother asked them, why did you stop the playing? Because it started raining, mom. Because it's this consequence. So today we talked about third conditional grammar. We checked some vocabularies about the consequences. We talked result. Please again practice them. Please watch this video from the beginning to understand it better. And I hope that it was useful for you. You enjoyed it. And if you have any question, please ask me. Thanks for watching and listening this video. See you soon.